Moving on to 2.2, you guys learned yesterday bisecting segments. What does bisect mean again?
Two.
What do you mean two?
You like both of the same thing.
Cut it in half, split something in two. So yesterday we worked on bisecting segments where the segments were split in half. Now we're working on bisecting angles where the angle is split in half. Okay? So same concept, now we're just working with angles. So here it says ray BD bisects angle ABC. So it says this whole angle is 110. What does bisect mean?
Cut in half.
Cut in half, so that means this angle is congruent to this angle. So how are we going to find that if the whole thing's 110?
Divide 110 by 2.
Divide 110 by 2, that's where they get this 55.
Oh.
Yeah? Looking at the next one, let's do these checkpoints. One angle is 52. Okay? It shows that they are congruent. What does congruent mean?
21.
What does congruent mean? The same. So if one side's 52, the other side is 52. It wants us to find the whole angle now. What's the whole angle?
104.
104. Oh, I did that wrong. Sorry. Yep. Let's do that again. We are right if it was that way. However, it says this whole thing is 52, right?
Yes.
So if the whole thing's 52, how do we find the... There you go.
26, right?
Good catch.
26.
52 divided by 2 is 26. Good. And if the one side's 26, the other side is
26.
26. All right, I got it figured out now. Okay, number 2, what's the whole angle measure?
45. 90.
90. That square, remember, means 90. So how do we find, if KH bisects, how do we find the other side?
Divide by 2.
90 divided by 2.
45.
45. If one side's 45, the other side is
45.
45. Good.
Yes.
Okay, number 3, the whole angle is 162. KH bisects, sorry, 161. I about said it again. So, how do we find the two angles?
161 divided by 2.
Yep, 161 divided by 2.
It's going to be something, 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 0.5.
It is 80.5 degrees. Okay, do not forget these degree signs, okay? On the test, I will be looking for those. Make sure you have those. Any questions on bisecting angles? Can I move on? Okay, now we're getting into both sides. Remember these red tick marks from yesterday?
Yes.
Supposedly.
Same thing. What do they mean? They mean, yep, they mean they are the same or congruent.
So what you're telling me is that an angle can have two different types?
What do you mean by that?
Look at the lines, they're not matched up. One's short.
I know, but it's showing you, if they were matched up, that would mean that whole angle is that.
Yeah.
So they're split because it's congruent.
46 plus 46 to find the whole angle.
Yep. So if this one side, LMP, is 46, what's PMN? 46, because they're congruent and then they're the same. Good. So what would be the whole angle? How would we find the whole angle?
46 times 2.
46 times 2, and then that's where you get 92.
Knew it.
So looking at these, we want to find the other angle and then find the whole angle, and then we need to say if it's acute, right, or obtuse. Okay? So what do those red lines mean?
Congruent.
Congruent, and that means they're the same. So if one side's 29, the other side is
29
29, and then how do we find the whole angle?
times 2.
Add or times 2. What's 29 times 2?
58.
It is 58 degrees. Okay, now with 58 degrees, acute, right, obtuse, or straight? Why is it acute?
Under 90.
It is less than 90. Good. Okay, again, number 5, those red tick marks mean congruent, the same. If one's 45, the other one is 45. How do we find the whole thing? Multiply by 2, and you get 90. Last thing, acute, right, obtuse, or straight?
Right.
Why is it right?
49 degree angle.
Because it's a 90-degree angle. Okay, last one, 6. The one side's 60. What's the other side?
60.
Because they're congruent. Yep, how do we find the whole thing?
Times 2.
Times 2. 60 times 2 is 120. Acute, right, obtuse, or straight?
2.
Why?
Because it's larger than 90 degrees.
Good. Nice job. Okay, moving on. We're going to be solving for x's, I believe. Yeah, not yet. Sorry. So, oh, no. Let's look at this one. It says KM bisects JKL. Okay? It says that whole angle is 96 degrees. Okay, it wants us to find the two angles together. It wants us to find this angle here and this angle here. How do we find that? Divide by 2, because bisect means split in half. What's 96 divided by 2? 48 degrees. Good. And both of them are 48, right? Good. So, same thing with this one. Let's see, WUV. We want to find this missing angle and the whole thing. So, if this side's 60, what's the other side? 60. What do we got to do to find the whole thing? Multiply by 2, and you get 120. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Understanding this? Angle bisectors? Okay, now we're going to be working with x's, okay?
Oh, I hate my ex.
So this is why we're going to do an algebra review on, we're going to do an algebra review on Tuesday. Okay, so what do we know about bisectors again? It splits it in half. So we know this angle right here is 55 degrees. So what does the other side have to equal?
55 degrees.
So how can we set up an equation to solve for x?
55 equals x plus 12.
Good. You know that angle is supposed to equal 55, so set up what it is and then put it equal to 55. So now how do we solve for x here?
Minus 12.
Subtract 12, we want to get x by itself. What's 55 minus 12?
43.
It is 43. And then to check, 43 plus 12, does that equal 55?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, number 10 is a little different. Okay, we don't know what any of the angles are.
What?
But what do you know about BD?
Bisect.
It bisects and it does what to the angle?
Cuts in half.
Cuts it in half. So these two are congruent, right? Congruent means equal. So what do we need to do with those?
Times over the other, or add them together.
Close. We know they're equal. So how do we find x?
It's 3.
How did you find that?
You subtract the x's.
What did you do? How do you set it up? Set up an
So
equation.
9x equals 8x
Good.
plus 3.
You know they're equal to each other, so just set those two angles equal to each other. So now just solve for x. So what's our first step for solving for x?
Minus 8x.
Minus 8x. Yep, you
Oh,
want to
minus
get
3.
the x on one side by itself. 9x minus 8x
Well, x.
is just x, and then drop that 3 down. X equals 3. Okay, and if you would plug that 3 back in to both of them, you would get the same angle.
Oh, yeah.
27 degrees. Yep. We'll do more practice with those on Tuesday. Any questions over angle bisectors? No? All right.